So about a week ago, I posted to my community tab on YouTube asking if you guys had any questions you wanted me to answer. So that's what we're doing today. Going to answer all guys' questions, and bear with me, there is quite a few questions. I only thought there'd be like a handful, but there's actually just south of 2 dozen. So if you have asked a question, please stay the link for the video. I will get to your question and I will answer it, but we're just going to start things off. The first question is from the good homie Bogani. When are we going to skate again? I got spots for you, bro. Honestly, next time Spencer and I head out for a skate sesh, I'll hit you up. It's fun having you on the sesh. I love being around that energy and that positivity, and just that it makes me feel light and like poppy like on the session. So definitely gonna hit you up, either if we hit a park or if we hit some streets, I'll let you know, and hopefully you can join us. So the next question here is from Slow and Low 63 Bug. Approximately how long have you been skateboarding for? What's your favorite food? How long have you been doing tattoos? Love your content, bro. Well, first things first, thank you so much for being here and for watching. Really appreciate the support. How long have I been skating for? I'm just gonna say 20 years, because that's like roughly when I learned to like ollie and got the foundations of skating down. Like I might have started skating before that, but I didn't really know skateboarding was like a thing. So about 20 years, give or take. My favorite food right now is honestly like Whole Foods and not the grocery store. Like I've been really into eating brown rice, and I've been trying to stick to a vegan diet, but I've been eating fish lately. So fresh salmon, lemon and herb, black pepper, olive oil, fried brown rice, baby spinach, and then like cherry tomatoes, just like whole foods, because you're only going to perform as well as the food that you put in your system. So I try to eat good and drink a lot of water so that I can output energy for like skating and drawing and making videos and stuff. How long have I been tattooing for? It's coming up on like 13 or 14 years, I'm not too sure. It's only been as of late, I've been showing like my whole art and tattooing side on this channel. So definitely let me know if you guys are keen to see more tattoo stuff over here. Next question is from Mark Santos LBC, and he asks, who are your top 3 favorite tattoo artists, and who are your top 3 graffiti writers / artists? My top 3 favorite tattoo artists are probably going to be Grime out of San Francisco, amazing tattoo artist. I really like his story as well. And then Shige from Japan. He does really amazing Japanese work. I have his book back at home at my mom's house. And then the third is probably going to be, there's a bloke from Melbourne called Matty D Mooney. He owns Dagger and Lark Tattoo, and he does amazing Japanese. Like I've been into his style of Japanese for at least a decade now. And then for top 3 graffiti writers, I'm going to say Grime as well, because he's amazing at graffiti along with tattoos. And then Saber, AWR-MSK. I'm pretty sure Grime and Saber are kind of in the same cruise. And then there's a guy from back home called Izky. I still love taking inspiration from his graffiti. Next question here is from ilox9177. What got you into skating and dirt bikes? I got into skating basically via my parents. They bought me this one kick skateboard setup that was secondhand from the flea market, and I just thought it was like my bike. I just rode up and down the driveway on it on my knees. I didn't know skating was like a real thing until I was about like 6-7 years old, and my dad had shown me a news clip on TV from the Brooklyn Banks. People were skating the Brooklyn Banks and doing tricks and such, and just their clothes and their vibe and their energy, and obviously the skateboarding too, just kind of sucked me right in. At that time, it was like the coolest thing I had ever seen. For dirt bikes, how I got into dirt bikes, when I was young, when I was probably like 9 or 10, my neighbor across the road had Krusty Demons 1 on VHS tape, and he showed it to me, and my mind was blown. I begged my parents every year for Christmas, can I please have a Honda XR75, because that was the bike to have of the day if you're a child. When I turned 18 and started working, my first dirt bike was a Chinese 110, and I bought it off a friend of mine for like 350 bucks, so like dirt cheap. The next question we have here is from Alex Habachi. Just started painting not too long ago. What are your tips for beginners? Do you mean like fine art painting or like graffiti painting or writing graffiti? My main tip, just study letter formation, and when you sketch, be really light. Just use your wrist, hold the end of the marker or the pencil and just really lightly sketch. I wish I knew this starting graffiti, because how I used to draw letters was like, I was so heavy-handed, I would chew through the paper, and that's not the way to sketch. Like, it's literally called a sketch because you're lightly sketching and being flowy and having that flow. I'm trying to answer these questions as concisely as I can, because I know that I love a good chin wag and I will talk forever if someone doesn't stop me. So the next question here comes from Axel Slip, and he asks me, bro, do you miss living in Australia? I do, and there's moments in time where I'm so homesick Like, I'll be sweet for a month or so, then I'll become homesick for like a week. But the things that I do miss about Australia that you probably don't really realize because you're living there or you haven't spent enough time out of Australia is the sounds of kookaburras singing in the morning. You don't get that anywhere else in the world except for Australia. Second thing is just being by the bush and just hearing the wind rustle the eucalyptus leaves on the gum trees. Just hearing that and the smell and sounds of the bush, you know. I miss our beaches too. Like, our beaches are the most beautiful beaches in the world in Australia. They trump any other beach worldwide, in my opinion. The water's always warm, beach is always super nice and clean. And it's just a visually nice looking coastline. Australia has a really nice coastline. Next question comes from Stanley_Manly, and he asks, favorite band at the moment and of all time? At the moment, I've been listening to a few bands. There's a band from the Inland Empire here called Big Ass Truck. Another band I've been into is Tsunami, obviously, because I've been blowing up lately over here. And there's another band from, I think they're from Michigan or like somewhere in the Great Lakes district. They're called Nuff Said, so NUF SAID. Favorite band of all time. I can't really put my finger on one band. There's a lot of bands that kind of constructed my musical taste over the years. The main ones from growing up are probably Parkway Drive, Carpathian from Melbourne, I Killed the Prom Queen. Bands, Australian bands like that from back in the day. Next question here comes from Saro6043. Ever thought about giving up on skating? What do you think you'll be working as if skating or being a tattoo artist wasn't in the picture? Ever gonna visit home again? Love your vids, man. Well, firstly, thank you for being here. I do notice when you engage and comment. Without each of you guys watching my channel and commenting and engaging, I wouldn't be anything. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it so much. Have I ever thought about giving up on skating? Not really, because there's no real goal for me for skateboarding. Like, my view of skating is just go out, have fun with your mates, be on a session, have a good time. The vibe of being on a good session and laughing with your mates and getting a new trick and getting clips. It's fun and it fills me up with this warm, fuzzy feeling, and I feel content and whole by the end of the session. As long as you approach every session just in the mindfulness of this isn't too serious, I'm just here to have fun and move my body, like, you can't really go wrong. What would I be doing if I wasn't tattooing or skating and making content? As a child, I loved working on BMX bikes. Like, I was really good at riding around the neighborhood on my BMX bike and finding all the old bike parts and frames and handlebars and wheels people would throw out for curbside cleanup. I'd take them all home, sand them, polish them. Like, I spent endless amounts of days during my school holidays just fixing up old bikes, rebuilding them, and I was only like 10 or 11 at the time. I'd like to think I'd probably be working on cars because I loved working with my hands and I loved learning how things work and why things work. Next question is from HorrorDude86, and he asks, what's your favorite / least favorite things in Aussie culture? Keep the vids coming, dude. My favorite thing about Australian culture is the Australian larrikin and the Australian sense of humor.
I shot you in the kneecap, Renee. We're entering Logie territory.
I had to do a work placement when I was in grade 12, so I was like 17, and it was for construction, so they put me in this factory for a week with all these middle-aged blokes, Aussie blokes, that were just complete larrikins, and I never laughed so hard in my life. I would have stitches in my belly from laughing so hard. They were so funny. And just being around other Aussies and just having that vibe of like laughing with your mates and like taking the piss out of each other and just having a good time, you know, that's what I miss about Australian culture. That's my favorite thing about Aussie culture. My least favorite thing about Aussie culture, which is very polarizing, is the tall poppy syndrome. Like, living down there, starting this YouTube channel, posting skating clips to my Instagram, I got a lot of hate from people that I thought were my friends and just from random people because it's out of the norm to do in Australia. At least it was back then. Fast forward 6-7 years, completely normal thing for people to be doing content online. Like, there's so many Aussie comedians that make reels and are blowing up on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. Like, I love seeing that because it just shows that there are people down there that see past the whole don't try to do anything, don't try to be too much, just fit in. So yeah, tall poppy syndrome is the least favorite thing for me about Australian culture. The next question here is from Delta Bravo 86A46, and they ask, what skateboard setup are you currently using? My current setup right now is this 838 Hockey. I think it was a Donovan Piscopo Pro model from like 2022 or 21. I had a few of these, a couple of them I skated. I kept this one to hang on the wall because I liked the graphic, but I was in need of a board one day, so I ran it. And I have Ace 55 trucks, Spitfire, full conical, 99s, 54mm. I thought they were 101s, they're 99s. Bronson G6 or G7 or whatever bearings that David Gravett has a pro model with. These are the pro model David Gravett Bronson bearings. So yeah, Pretty basic setup. I generally like Hockey and FA. I love their board concaves, big old fat shovel nose, steep concave. They're kind of compact. I used to really enjoy Baker back in the day, the mellow concave, but since then FA and Hockey have been my favorite board shape bar none. So yeah. The next question I have here is from Matthew Brandon 267, and he asks, are you making more hats anytime soon? What is your next tattoo going to be and where? What does your wife do for work? You got my favorite channel, my dude. Keep the vids coming. Oh, and what's your go-to gun to use? What kind of hats? Like, do you like the trucker style hats? Do you like the 6-panel unstructured snapback hats, or do you like dad hats? My next tattoo is going to be a Grim Reaper. It's going on the inside of the forearm, and then I think it's going to be like black, red, and a little bit of brown, so I'm stoked to do that. My wife, she's a medical assistant, so basically right now she's doing home care for this elderly woman that lives like not too far from here. So what would be my go-to gun to use? Are we talking fantasy firearms? Or are we talking practical firearms? Because I can give answers for both, and I can talk about firearms for like 8 hours, but let's start practically. The first go-to firearm I would use in the event that there's a threat in the house would be my 12 gauge. Home defense lesson. If someone is in your house and you are in your bedroom with your wife, girlfriend, whatever, loved ones, and you're able to camp in the bedroom and stay in one place, camp. Get on the phone to 911, the sheriff, and you just want to camp. You don't want to clear a house if someone's in your house, because that just exposes you. And I'm pretty decent with a 12 gauge too. Like, I like doing sporting skeets or sporting clays. So you throw the orange disc up in the air and you shoot it, it's a clay. Fantasy wise, I've been really into lever action carbines lately. If we're talking range toys, like firearms that you take to the range and you just have fun with, they're just for fun, I would probably go with like a lever action carbine, something chambered in like 44 mag or 357, just because there's nothing more American than a lever action gun. Like, you shoot it and then you manually have to, you know, push the lever, ejects it around, and you cycle it around it and you shoot it again. Like, there's nothing more American than that action, and that's the rifle that won the West apparently, is a lever action rifle. So probably a lever action is my fantasy go-to. The next question here comes from Human Brisket 7718, and they ask, do you like Australian bands like Koodabar, Cemetery Urn, or Sadistic Execution? Judging by your username on YouTube, I'm going to assume these bands are like black metal or speed metal or death metal, because Human Brisket is a pretty gnarly username to have on YouTube. I can't say I'm familiar with those bands. The Australian bands I am into are from like 20 years ago. So just to give you guys a few: Shinto Katana out of Penrith, Hand of Mercy out of Sydney, Confession. There was a band from Wollongong I really enjoyed, Cohere. They're all bands from like 20 years ago. So those are like my favorite kind of Aussie bands. And of course Speed, because that's a homies band and they've been absolutely on a run lately. Like, they've literally toured the world 3 times by now and they keep on crushing. So shouts out to the good homies in Speed. Next question here is from Trichromes 420, and they ask, has anything changed for you since you became a citizen of the USA? Yes. The first thing, if you guys haven't watched my previous video explaining why I left Australia to come here, my mindset has changed so much, because I'm not kind of contained to this Australian mindset of just be kind of modest. Don't do too much. Just try to fit in. That is gone. Modesty is a scam. Basically just being out here and seeing the level of success, seeing the level of wealth, seeing Newport Beach, seeing Inspiration Point, seeing Malibu, seeing Beverly Hills, even seeing massive horse ranches out here in Temecula. It's amazing. It's important to have goals. It's important to have aspirations. That's how my mindset has changed now, because I would look at that stuff and then I would automatically cancel it out for myself and be like, oh, they probably got that because they did something really immoral to get where they are, or that'll never be me because X, Y, and Z. Like, now I look at it as like, those people tried to do something, they did it, and they succeeded, and that's amazing. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Next question here comes from Boom Productions 2089, and they ask, ever gonna move back to Oz? I'm not gonna say never, Justin Bieber, because I kind of want to live between both places, and at the moment, with my permanent residency here within the States, I need to be here 6 months and 1 day out of the year. So the majority of my time needs to be spent within the US, which is fine. I love it here. But I would like to go back to Oz and to be able to be down there for like 2-3 months and then come back here and vice versa. I would probably like to just live here and travel to Australia and just be a tourist in my own country in Australia. Like, I'm so stoked to go down to Oz with Rachel in October. Like, I'm going to be like I'm going to put on my tour guide hat and my Sydney Olympics 2000 shirt and just you know, oh, this and that, this is like, I'm so keen to be a tourist in my hometown. So I would definitely like to live out my years here, but travel and stay in Australia for periods of time. The next question here is from Uka ST1, and they ask, gym content anytime soon? Maybe like building body progress and how it helps you skate better. I've thought about building my body next year, like working on my shape, just aesthetic wise. But honestly, these days I've been waking up in the morning, hitting the spin bike for like 10 kilometers. So what that does for me mentally, I've done something really hard in the morning. I've woken up out of bed, jumped on the bike. Because when you wake up in the morning, at least for me, I want to coast, I want to kick back, I want to sleep in. That's my brain telling me to chill, but there's no time to chill anymore. I need to get after it. So I'm straight up into yoga, stretching on the bike for 10 kilometers, come out, shower, and then I'll start my day. So I've done something physically demanding and hard for me first thing in the morning. So the rest of my tasks and goals for the day are easy compared to that. The next question here is like such a common question for me in my life, and it's from Scorn Ball, and they ask, what's up with your eye, dog? Pretty much my eye. One side of my eye is a birthmark. The other side of my eye is a scar from when I was like 4. That's pretty much all the questions. Like I try to hammer through them. Some of them are really long-winded answers, and I'm sorry, because once I get going on a topic, I'm just like, ooh, which is weird because like when I'm out in the world and like naturally I'm pretty introverted, I'll only give like a little bit. I only give like 30% of myself to people, like running into people in the coffee shop or having a conversation at Walmart. Like I'm only going to give 30% of myself, but when I'm on camera, I'm just like 110%, just like charging through and just talking heaps. But hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys are new here and you haven't subscribed, please do. There's a large amount of you people that watch my channel that aren't subscribed, and I'm trying to crack 30k subs. I hope you guys have had a rad new year, and I hope the new year brings new opportunities, new growth, new success for everybody. So yeah, cheers for watching. Thank you for being here, and I will see you guys in the next video.